Picking your first bench stone can be a daunting task. In this video, we're going to show you everything you need to know in order to pick the best sharpening stones for your needs. Tom here at Sharpening Supplies. Now, I think that bench stones are the best option for pretty much any sharpening task. However, if you're a beginner, trying to select your first sharpening stones can be kind of daunting. This video aims to simplify the process. It will show you what different types of bench stones are available and what factors you need to consider in order to pick the best sharpening stones for your needs. By the end of this video, you will have the knowledge necessary in order to build a sharpening kit that will serve you for years to come. If you've been sharpening for a while, let us know in the comments, what was your beginner kit? So bench stones, they come in a variety of materials. We're going to go over the main types of sharpening stones available, and we're going to talk about their strengths and the limitations that some of them have. So let's start with oil stones. Oil stones are a very traditional kind of sharpening stone. They're typically made using either silicon carbide or aluminium oxide. So as the name suggests, these stones use oil in order to remove the swarf and to stop the stone from clogging up. So they're a very hard and durable sharpening stone, and I'd say that Norton's probably the best well-known producer of oil stones. So alongside their India stones and crystalline stones, you can also get Arkansas stones that are a natural sharpening stone used with oil. The main advantages of oil stones is that they're very durable, they're super long lasting, and they're generally a little bit more affordable. And then the limitations of them are that they tend to be a little slower cutting. They can be kind of messy because of the oil, and that there's a limited range of grits available. They do go from very coarse up to very fine, but there aren't that many options in between. So oil stones would be great for anyone that's looking for a cost-effective sharpening setup that doesn't require a whole lot of maintenance, and you're okay with a little bit of cleanup. Next up, we have water stones. Now, water stones are a very popular option, partly due to their fast cutting speed and the massive range of grits available. I think we have water stones that go from all the way from 120 grit up to over 30,000. So pretty much any sharpening need is covered there. Sharpening stones, they're often made using aluminium oxide in some sort of binder. Now, water stones are relatively soft. This allows them to cut faster since that blunt abrasive gets worn away and fresh, sharp abrasives are exposed. Now, water stones, they require the use of water in order to remove the swarf and stop the stones from clogging. You'll also need to flatten them to have the best sharpening surface. Now, water stones, like those from Sharpening and Nanoir, they're very popular, really nice to use. I've got a whole bunch of Sharpening water stones in my workshop. They're available in a huge range of grits. They offer really nice feedback. They just feel good to sharpen with. They have a fast cutting speed, and you're able to resurface them really easily to make sure that you've got a perfectly flat surface to sharpen on. So they do have a few limitations. That fast cutting speed comes at a bit of a cost. They do wear down a little bit quicker. I know I mentioned it as a positive, but some people might see that regular flattening as more maintenance that they need to do. And then finally, because of all that water and slurry, they can be a bit messy. Now, I think water stones would be great for any beginner, especially people who want to enjoy the sharpening process. And they're especially good if you've got tools that you want to put an extra fine edge on because of the grit range available. Next up, we have diamond stones. Now, diamond stones would probably be the fastest cutting stone available. Diamond, that will cut any type of steel out there. The most common diamond stones are industrial diamonds bonded onto a metal surface. That surface could be continuous or interrupted. They've each got their benefits. DMT is probably the most common producer of these kind of diamond stones, and they make them here in the USA. The biggest advantages of diamond stones would be their really fast cutting speed, the fact that they stay flat throughout the lifespan of the stone, and that they require minimal maintenance. There are a few limitations to diamond stones. They're Bit of a higher initial cost to get a good set of diamond stones. There's a slightly limited range of grits available. Like oil stones, they do go from very coarse up to very fine, but you don't have too many options in between. And then the final limitation is that diamond stones, they wear differently to these other stones. So while they stay flat throughout their lifespan, as they wear, the speed that they cut at will gradually reduce. Diamond stones, they last for years. Most often you just need to give them a good clean, and we've got a video up here that shows you some of the best ways to do that. You can also get diamond resin stones. So these are kind of an in-between between the diamonds and like water stones. So these have diamond abrasive throughout a layer of resin. As that resin wears away, fresh diamonds are exposed. So we've got some diamond resin stones from Nanahone and Nanawar. Diamond stones are a great beginner stone. They stay flat, they require minimal maintenance. Plus, if you've got a collection of high-end steel tools, then diamonds will tackle those really easily. So while diamond, water, and oil stones are the most common, there are a couple of other stone types I want to give a quick mention to. So the first would be true ceramic stones, not to be confused with water stones that use ceramic abrasives in a binder. True ceramic stones are solid ceramic. They're typically only available in higher grits, but because they're solid ceramic, they don't have a numeric grit rating like these other stones. They're usually listed as like fine or extra fine. So for a beginner, because you don't have the full range of grits available, and that rating system makes it a little tricky to match up with other stones. So they're nice to try. Spyderco has some, but if you're just starting out, I'd recommend sticking with one of these stone types. And then the other one would be natural stones. So again, these are quarried stones, and like ceramic stones, they're typically only available in finer grits. How much slurry you build up on the surface of a natural stone can impact its effective grit. So I would recommend natural stones more for kind of intermediate to advanced sharpeners. If you do want to try natural stones, we do have some nice ones from One Stone in France and from Ardennes Coticule. So those are the various different kinds of stones available. If you're just a beginner starting out, I'd recommend building a kit that sticks to just one type, just for the consistency within that kit. So when you're building your kit, there are 5 other factors that you need to consider in order to build up a kit that will suit your needs. The first one would be the grit sizes. We have an in-depth video up here on selecting grit sizes, but here's a shortened version of it. Stones with different grit sizes will serve a different purpose within the sharpening process. I would recommend getting at least 3 different grits: a coarse, a medium, and a fine. So coarse grits, this will be roughly 220 to about 500 grit. These stones cut a lot quicker, so they're great for repairing damage or sharpening really blunt tools. Coarse grits speed things up tremendously. Now, coarse grits, they're not considered quite as cool as finer grits, so it's a really common mistake for beginners to skip getting a coarse stone. Don't do that. Now, medium grits, this is about 600 to maybe 2000 grit. So these are great for refining the edge after your coarse stone, and they can also be used for sharpening a knife or tool that's already in pretty good condition. You can use a medium grit as a finishing stone if you want a slightly toothier edge, but personally I'd recommend getting at least one fine stone for polishing. Now, fine stones, so that would be 2000 to about 8000 and above. Now, these are great for polishing and finishing the edge for a razor sharp tool. Finer grits are essential if you're performing cutting tasks that require precision. If you get a stone in like the 3 to 8000 grit range, it will give you some really nice polishing options. If you have some edges that you want to make especially slicey, or you like the aesthetics of a mirror polish to your bevels, then I'd recommend getting at least an 8000 grit or above so you can achieve that. As a rough guide for building a grit progression, I would recommend sticking to between either a doubling or tripling of the grit size. So a common grit progression would be something like 220, 1000, 3000, 8000. If you progress to a stone that's significantly less than double, you're not going to be refining that edge much more than you already have, And then if you go for a jump that's bigger than triple, it's going to take quite a long time to remove those deeper scratches left by the previous coarser stone. It's not a hard and fast rule, but just a bit of a guideline that you want to think about when building your sharpening stone kit. Next consideration would be stone size. Now, the size of your stone should correspond with the size of the tools that you're sharpening. A wider stone can stay in contact with more of your edge at one time, and a longer stone allows you to perform fewer passes to sharpen your tools. So sharpening stones, they come in a whole range of sizes. We've got smaller ones that are like 6 inches long by about 2 inches wide or smaller. Now, these can be a cost-effective way of getting a more premium stone. So the Sharpening G7 stones, the Nanoir Pocket Pro stones, some of the smaller DMT stones, they're just little versions of their bigger premium siblings. If you get one of these smaller stones, just be aware that you might need to sharpen your tool in sections, and you're going to have to perform more passes to get a good edge on your tool. Now, the next size would be medium stones. So these are about 8 inches long to maybe like 2 3/4 inches wide. This will be like the most common size for sharpening stones. Great for most needs. If you're sharpening plain irons, just make sure that the stone is wide enough so you can fit the whole blade on there at one time. But medium stones are great for most people. And then the next would be big stones. So these stones are maybe like 10 inches long or more, maybe 3 inches wide. If you've got big tools, then these will be the stones to go for. Now, large stones, these will provide more surface area for longer strokes, so it will make it easier to stay consistent during sharpening, especially with larger tools or knives. Another size consideration, especially for water stones, would be the thickness. Since water stones wear down relatively quickly, a thicker stone will last longer. Coarser grit water stones will also wear down faster than finer grit stones, so this is why some companies have produced extra thick coarse stones like the double thickness 500 grit Sharpening glass stone. Next up would be the ease of maintenance. How much time and effort are you willing to put into maintaining your stones? Now, oil stones, they're relatively low maintenance, but just because you're sharpening with oil, it means that there is a little bit of cleanup required afterwards. Water stones, they do require regular flattening, and because they produce quite a lot of slurry, they can be messy as well. We have a full video for caring for your water stones here if you want to watch that. And diamond stones, as we've mentioned already, they have a minimal amount of maintenance. We do recommend using them with water, but they don't create the slurry that water stones do. Just give them a bit of a clean every now and again. The fourth factor to consider would be price range. So if you're looking for budget stones, oil stones are great, or you can go for some of the smaller stones. That's a nice way to get more premium materials at a lower cost. At the mid-price range, you're going to get some of the slightly higher quality water stones and perhaps some of the smaller diamond stones. If you're a beginner, this might be a nice place to start. And then at the high end, what you're getting would be the premium water stone and diamond stones. So these will offer the best performance and longevity, but it does come at a price. There are a couple of different ways that you can save a little extra when you're building your kit. The first would be to go with a pre-made kit. I'll link to some of our favorites in the description below. And then another option would be with combination stones. So typically these are less expensive than buying 2 separate stones. The last thing you want to consider would be the versatility of your stones. So while things like size and grit size affect the versatility of your kit, the main thing would be the stone type. So we've got diamond stones, they're highly versatile and they'll sharpen any type of steel. With water stones, they're really fast cutting and available in the widest range of grits. Some people mention that water stones cut some high-end steels relatively slowly. I've had good results sharpening things like Maximet S90V, like 3V, M390 on water stones, so your mileage may vary. And then with oil stones, they're great for sharpening anything, but they can be a little bit messy, so consider the space that you'll be sharpening in. So when you're building your kit, just have a think about what you'll be sharpening and the space that you'll be sharpening in. Do you need a compact kit that can be easily packed away? Or do you have enough space for a wide range of grits you can permanently leave set out? depending on your needs, a certain type of stone will fit your needs best. Next up, I want to talk about some bench stone accessories. These are accessories that I think are essential. Other people might just think they're nice to have, but we'll go over them quickly. The first would be some sort of bench stone holder. This will raise the stone up off the work surface. This will give you a little bit of clearance to grip a tool while sharpening at the correct angle. They also stop your stones from sliding around. The next would be a strop and honing compound. Strops make it a lot easier to remove the burr that can be created during sharpening. Plus, they're a nice maintenance tool for keeping an already sharp tool in good condition. Next up would be lapping plates or flattening stones. These are essential for water stones. We've got a full video up here on how to pick one that will fit your needs. There are angle guides and honing guides. These will help you sharpen at a consistent angle. You could use these as a learning tool, or you can make them a everyday part of your sharpening setup. Then the last one would be a sharpening pond or mat. This just contains the slurry and mess that can come about from sharpening. I'll leave links to everything in the description below. Hopefully this video gives you everything you need in order to build a sharpening kit that is specific to your needs. If you do need a little bit more help, you can contact us directly. So you could email or call us. One of our sharpening experts would be more than happy to find out what your needs are and match you up with the right sharpening stones. If you're already sharpening on bench stones, let us know in the comments below what bench stones you're using and what you're sharpening. I think beginners would really benefit from seeing what some of the different options are out there. If you're a beginner and you found this video useful, then please consider giving it a like. It really helps us to reach other people that are starting their sharpening journeys. And please subscribe so you don't miss out on future sharpening videos.